First contact gone wrong. The Nexari flagship, Eternal Dawn, emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system's Kuiper belt, its crystalline hull refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. Supreme Commander Vexus stood on the bridge, his iridescent scales shifting colors with barely contained anticipation. The massive viewscreen before him displayed Earth's outermost colony on Eris, a sprawling installation that the humans had somehow managed to build in this frozen wasteland. Primitive, Vexus muttered, his secondary breathing chambers closing with a soft click. They've barely mastered basic space travel, yet they dare to spread so far from their homeworld. He turned to his subordinate, Sub-Commander Lyra, whose silver-streaked scales marked her as a veteran of countless successful conquests. Begin the standard subjugation protocol. But Lyra's response died in her throat as the ship's sensors suddenly screamed to life. Dozens of energy signatures materialized around them, emerging from what appeared to be perfectly camouflaged orbital platforms. The humans had hidden their true technological capabilities behind a veil of seemingly primitive structures. Unidentified vessel. A calm human voice transmitted across all frequencies. You have entered restricted space. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded, or we will be forced to take defensive action. Vexus's scales flushed deep crimson with rage. No lesser species had ever dared to demand anything of the Nexari Empire. Launch all fighters, he commanded. Show these primitives the price of defiance. The space around Eris erupted in chaos as Nexari fighters poured from the flagship's hangars. But the human response was nothing like what their intelligence had suggested. Instead of crude projectile weapons, the orbital platforms unleashed sophisticated energy weapons that carved through Nexari shields like they were made of paper. Admiral Sarah Chen watched the battle unfold from her command center within Eris Station, her dark eyes reflecting the tactical displays surrounding her. 20 years of preparing for first contact had taught humanity one crucial lesson: appear weak when you are strong. The Nexari had fallen for it completely. Target their propulsion systems, she ordered, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Let's give them a chance to surrender before this gets worse. But the Nexari response was to launch a full-scale assault. More ships emerged from hyperspace, their weapons charging. Chen's expression hardened as she realized diplomacy was no longer an option. All stations, execute Protocol Omega. Show them exactly what humanity is capable of. A space around Eris transformed as hundreds of hidden weapon platforms activated, their advanced targeting systems acquiring Nexari vessels with deadly precision. Quantum-linked torpedoes phased through Nexari shields, while human fighters demonstrated maneuvers that should have been impossible for organic pilots. Vexus watched in horror as his mighty fleet was systematically dismantled by what he had dismissed as an inferior species. Impossible, he hissed, his scales now pale with fear. Their technology. They couldn't have developed this on their own. Sir, Lyra interrupted, her voice urgent. We're detecting massive energy signatures approaching from the inner system. They're unlike anything in our database. Before Vexus could respond, massive vessels emerged from faster-than-light travel, their hulls bearing the emblem of the United Earth Defense Force. These weren't the cobbled-together colonies the Nexari had expected to find. This was humanity's real fleet, and they had just walked into its killing ground. Admiral Chen's voice came through again, this time with an edge of steel. This is your final warning. Surrender now, or face the consequences of your aggression. Vex's pride wouldn't let him submit to what he still considered lesser beings. Launch everything we have. The Empire will not bow to primitives. The battle that followed would be remembered as humanity's first interstellar conflict, but not for the reasons the Nexari had intended. Human ships demonstrated technology that bordered on the impossible, using quantum entanglement drives to appear and disappear at will, while their weapons bypassed Nexari defenses as if they didn't exist. As the Eternal Dawn systems failed one by one, Vexus finally realized the magnitude of his error. These humans hadn't been struggling to reach the stars. They had been preparing for this moment, deliberately appearing vulnerable, while building up their true strength in secret. The last transmission from Earth's fleet commander would haunt Vexus for years to come. You made a critical mistake today. You assumed that because we hadn't shown our strength, we must be weak. Remember this lesson well. Humanity doesn't show its hand until it's ready to win the game. As escape pods launched from his dying flagship, Vexus watched the human fleet methodically disable or destroy every Nexari vessel. They weren't just winning. They were sending a message to the entire galaxy. Humanity was not to be underestimated. In her command center, Admiral Chen already knew this was just the beginning. The Nexari Empire wouldn't take this humiliation lightly, and humanity would need every advantage they had secretly developed over the past decades. But as she watched the battle's conclusion, she allowed herself a small smile. The first test of humanity's preparedness had been a resounding success. "Send word to Earth," she commanded. "Tell them it's begun. And inform our deep space outposts to initiate Phase 2. If the Nexari want a war, we'll give them one they'll never forget." As the last Nexari ship fell silent, the message was clear. Humanity had been playing a long game, and they had just revealed their first hand. The galaxy would never be the same. The strategic counter. 2 weeks after the Battle of Eris, the Nexari Empire's response came with devastating force. Their main battle fleet, comprising over 300 warships, emerged from hyperspace near humanity's Mars colonies. But instead of finding vulnerable settlements, they encountered an empty void. Every human structure had vanished without a trace. Grand Marshal Kirax, Supreme Commander of the Nexari Invasion Force, stood aboard his super dreadnought Imperial Judgment, his scaled fingers drumming against the crystalline command console. "Impossible," he growled, analyzing the sensor readings for the third time. "An entire civilization doesn't just disappear." His tactical officer, a young Nexari named Zora, approached with fresh data. "Sir, we're detecting unusual quantum fluctuations throughout the system. The humans may have developed some form of cloaking technology." Kirax dismissed the notion with a wave of his hand. "No species has mastered quantum-scale cloaking. The energy requirements alone would be." His words died as the space around his fleet suddenly warped and twisted. Human ships materialized from what appeared to be tiers in space itself, their hulls covered in geometric patterns that seemed to bend light around them. They had been there the whole time, hiding in plain sight using technology that the Nexari had deemed theoretically impossible. Within the lead human vessel, the Hyperion, Fleet Admiral Marcus Rodriguez watched the Nexari fleet's reaction with grim satisfaction. "Status on the quantum field?" he asked his science officer. "Field is stable, sir. The Nexari sensors are still trying to compensate for our quantum displacement technology. They're completely blind to our real positions." Rodriguez nodded. "Begin Phase 1. Let's show them why they should have done more research before declaring war on humanity." The human fleet's attack was unlike anything the Nexari had ever encountered. Instead of conventional energy weapons, the human ships fired projectiles that split into thousands of smaller units, each containing a miniature quantum drive. These smart swarms phased through Nexari shields as if they didn't exist, rematerializing inside their ships with devastating effect. "How are they doing this?" Kirax roared as another of his destroyers went dark, its systems completely shut down by the human weapons. "Their technology shouldn't be this advanced. We monitored them for decades." What the Nexari didn't know was that humanity had been preparing for this moment since they first detected alien signals in their space nearly 50 years ago. While presenting a facade of normal technological progression, Earth's best minds have been working in secret, developing technologies that broke the conventional rules of warfare. From her position on the Mars Defense Command, Dr. Elena Santos, the architect of humanity's quantum warfare program, monitored the battle through augmented reality displays. "The Nexari are adapting faster than expected," she communicated to Admiral Rodriguez. "Recommend switching to Protocol Sigma." Rodriguez gave the order, and the human fleet's tactics shifted. The ships began moving in impossible patterns, using their quantum drives to appear in multiple places simultaneously. Each vessel existed in a state of quantum superposition, making it impossible for Nexeri targeting systems to lock onto them. "This isn't warfare," Kirax muttered, watching his mighty fleet being systematically dismantled. "This is magic masquerading as science." But it wasn't magic. It was the result of human ingenuity pushed to its absolute limits by the knowledge that they weren't alone in the universe. The battle reached its climax when the human fleet unveiled their masterstroke. Quantum beacons activated throughout the solar system, creating a complex network of entangled particles. Before the Nexeri could react, their ships found themselves trapped in a quantum web that made conventional space travel impossible. "You're trapped in a quantum bubble," Rodriguez's voice transmitted across all frequencies. "Your weapons are useless, your drives are offline, and you're about to learn why starting this war was your biggest mistake." What followed was not a battle but a systematic demonstration of human technological superiority. Ships that had taken the Nexeri Empire centuries to perfect were disabled by weapons they couldn't even understand. The mighty Imperial Judgment, pride of the Nexeri fleet, hung powerless in space as human vessels phased through its hull at will. In a final act of desperation, Kirax ordered his remaining ships to self-destruct, hoping to at least deny the humans their technology. But even this was futile. The quantum field prevented the chain reaction necessary for the ship's power cores to detonate. "Enough," Rodriguez transmitted. "You've lost, Marshal Kirax. Surrender now, and we'll show you mercy. Something your empire never planned to show us." As Kirax looked at the ruins of his fleet, he realized that this defeat would change everything. The Nexeri Empire had never encountered a species that not only matched their technology, but surpassed it so completely. They had assumed humanity's apparent technological level was their true capability, never considering that an entire civilization could engage in such massive deception. The battle ended not with a grand explosion or a heroic last stand, but with the quiet submission of a force that had finally met its match. As human quantum troops boarded the Imperial Judgment, Kirax received a message from his emperor. More fleets were being assembled. The war was far from over. But watching the humans systematically secure his vessel with technology that seemed to defy the laws of physics, Kirax wondered if any number of ships would be enough. They hadn't just underestimated humanity's technology. They had underestimated their determination, their ingenuity, and their capacity for advancement. The message to the galaxy was clear. Humanity wasn't just ready for the stars. They had been quietly mastering them while the rest of the galaxy wasn't looking. Turning point. The captured Nexeri flagship Imperial Judgment had become a treasure trove of information, but not in the way anyone expected. Dr. Maya Patel stood in its engineering section, her dark eyes reflecting the holographic displays of Nexeri technology schematics floating before her. After 3 months of studying their systems, she had discovered something that changed everything. "It's not just their technology," she explained to the assembled military leadership via quantum-linked hologram. "It's their entire approach to space-time manipulation. They're still using linear quantum mechanics while we've moved beyond that." She gestured to a complex diagram showing the Nexeri's power distribution system. But that's not the most interesting part. Admiral Rodriguez, his hologram flickering slightly from Mars Command, leaned forward. "What have you found, Doctor?" "Their entire empire is built on stolen technology." Maya's words hung in the air as she brought up new displays. "Look at these base codes, these architectural patterns. They're from at least 7 different civilizations, all cobbled together. The Nexeri aren't innovators. They're conquerors who take other species' technology and claim it as their own." This revelation sent ripples through the human leadership. The Nexeri Empire's fearsome reputation had been built on technological superiority. But if they were merely using stolen innovations, high above Earth, aboard the newly commissioned quantum dreadnought Prometheus, Fleet Admiral Sarah Chen processed this information with growing interest. That explains their reaction to our quantum displacement technology. They've never encountered anything they couldn't steal and replicate. But the most shocking discovery came when Maya's team decrypted the Imperial Judgment's central database. The Nexeri Empire wasn't just stealing technology. They were systematically eliminating civilizations after taking their innovations, erasing all evidence of the original creators. We found records of at least 12 civilizations, Maya continued, her voice tight with controlled anger. All of them now extinct, their worlds stripped bare after the Nexeri took what they wanted. They're not just an empire. They're parasites. The human leadership was silent as the implications sank in. They weren't just fighting for their own survival. They were facing an enemy that had been systematically destroying advanced civilizations for millennia. Then, from the quantum shadows at the edge of the room, a new voice spoke. Zara, the captured Nexeri tactical officer who had chosen to defect, stepped forward. There's more, she said, her scales shifting to a deep blue of shame. The Empire's leadership knows they're reaching the end of their ability to steal and adapt. They attacked Earth not just for conquest, but because they detected something they'd never seen before, true innovation. The revelation sparked an immediate response from the quantum AI that helped manage humanity's war effort. Analysis complete, it announced, its holographic form shimmering into existence. Cross-referencing Nexeri battle tactics with their technological capabilities reveals significant gaps in their understanding of their own systems. Admiral Chen's eyes narrowed as she saw the opportunity. They don't fully understand the technology they're using, she said, which means they don't know its true limitations or vulnerabilities. Dr. Patel nodded, bringing up new simulations. Exactly. Their entire defensive system is based on stolen quantum shielding technology, but they're using it wrong. They never discovered that quantum fields can be inverted through recursive feedback loops. We can turn their own shields into weapons. The quantum AI's projections filled the room with possibilities, calculating optimal attack strategies. With this knowledge, we can disable Nexeri vessels without destruction. Estimated casualty reduction, 78.4%. But Admiral Rodriguez saw beyond the immediate tactical advantage. This isn't just about winning battles anymore, he said, his hologram pacing the room. We've discovered the Nexeri Empire's greatest secret. They're frauds. Their power is built on theft and genocide. Zara's scales rippled with emotion. There are many in the Empire who suspect the truth. Some of us have tried to speak out, but the leadership. She trailed off, remembering purges she'd witnessed. Then we don't just need a military victory, Chen declared. We need to expose the truth to the entire Nexeri civilization. Dr. Patel, can you prove these technologies were stolen? Maya's smile was fierce. The evidence is in their own code. They didn't even bother to hide it well. They never thought anyone would be able to capture and decrypt one of their ships. The plan that formed over the next hours was audacious. Humanity would not just fight the Nexeri. They would reveal the truth about the Empire to its own people. The quantum AI calculated success probabilities while Maya's team prepared data packages that could be transmitted through the Nexeri's own communication networks. We'll need a decisive battle, Rodriguez said, something big enough to draw their full attention while we implement this plan. Chen's response was immediate. The Nexeri are gathering their forces at Proxima Centauri. They think they're preparing for a final push to Earth, but they're actually giving us the perfect stage. As the leadership dispersed to prepare, Maya remained in the captured flagship's engineering bay, studying the stolen technologies with new purpose. Humanity had spent decades preparing for war among the stars, but now they had a chance to do more than just defend themselves. They could bring justice to countless extinct civilizations. The quantum AI's final prediction hung in the air. Warning. Exposure of this information will cause complete destabilization of Nexeri Empire. Recommend preparing for widespread social collapse and potential civil war. Chen's response summed up humanity's position. They'd brought this on themselves. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't in destroying your enemy, but in showing them the truth they've been running from. The hidden truth. The space around Proxima Centauri blazed with the light of 5,000 Nexari warships, their crystalline hulls forming a vast wall of living metal that stretched across the star system. At their center, the new Nexari flagship, Eternal Dominion, dwarfed all other vessels, its 100-kilometer length a testament to the Empire's stolen power. Supreme Overlord Kexari stood on its bridge, his scales shimmering with anticipation. After the humiliating defeats at Earth and Mars, the Empire had committed everything to this final assault. The humans had proven dangerous beyond all expectation, but surely they couldn't stand against the combined might of an empire that spanned 1,000 worlds. "My lord," his aide approached, scales pale with concern. "We're detecting unusual quantum fluctuations throughout the system." Before Kexari could respond, space itself seemed to ripple. The human fleet appeared not in one massive group, but in hundreds of smaller formations, their quantum phase ships gliding into reality at seemingly impossible angles. Leading them was the Prometheus, its dark hull absorbing starlight like a black hole. Admiral Chen stood on her bridge, watching the Nexari reaction through quantum-entangled sensors. Behind her, Dr. Maya Patel and a team of engineers made final adjustments to their new weapon, a quantum virus designed to infiltrate and expose the truth hidden in every piece of Nexari technology. "They've arranged their fleet exactly as we predicted," the quantum AI reported, its holographic form analyzing battle patterns. "Their tactical doctrine is rigid, based on stolen strategies they don't fully understand." Chen nodded to Maya. "Begin transmission." The virus launched not as a conventional signal, but as a quantum wave that propagated through the very technology the Nexari had stolen. Every ship in their fleet was built with quantum processors they'd taken from other civilizations, processors that now became conduits for humanity's message. On the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, chaos erupted as displays began showing information their commanders had never meant to reveal. The true origins of their technology, records of genocides committed to obtain it, and proof that their leaders had been lying for generations. "Shut it down," Kexari roared, but it was too late. The virus had been designed by beings who truly understood quantum mechanics, not those who had merely stolen its application. It spread from ship to ship, revealing truth after horrible truth. Zara, now serving aboard the Prometheus, watched as her former empire's lies unraveled. "Look," she pointed to tactical displays showing confusion spreading through the Nexari fleet. "Some ships are powering down weapons. Others are turning on their neighbors." The vast Nexari armada began to fracture as crews were forced to confront the reality of their civilization's crimes. Centuries of carefully hidden genocide, technological theft, and systematic deception lay bare in an instant. But not all ships stood down. The Eternal Dominion's weapons blazed to life, targeting not just human vessels, but also Nexari ships showing signs of rebellion. "If we cannot rule through fear," Kexari's transmission boomed across all frequencies, "then we will rule through force." What followed was not one battle but 1,000, as the Nexari fleet tore itself apart. Ships commanded by true believers fought against those whose crews had awakened to the truth. Through it all, the human fleet moved with precision, using their superior understanding of quantum mechanics to disable rather than destroy where possible. Maya's voice cut through the chaos on the Prometheus's bridge. "Admiral, we're detecting power buildup in the Eternal Dominion. They're trying to activate something massive." The quantum AI's analysis was immediate and chilling. "They're attempting to trigger a quantum cascade. If successful, it will destroy everything in this star system, including their own fleet." Chen's response was instant. "All ships, execute Protocol Omega. Focus everything on the Eternal Dominion." The human fleet moved as one, their quantum drives allowing them to phase through the chaos of battle. The Prometheus led the charge, its advanced sensors detecting fluctuations in the enemy flagship's stolen quantum core. "They don't understand what they're doing," Maya warned, her hands flying over control surfaces. The technology they stole, they're pushing it beyond safe limits. They could trigger a reaction that would spread through quantum space itself. In that moment, humanity's true superiority became clear. While the Nexeri had stolen quantum technology, humans had developed it naturally, understanding its fundamental principles. They knew not just how to use it, but why it worked. Target their quantum core, Chen ordered. Dr. Patel, prepare to transmit the shutdown sequence. The battle reached its crescendo as human ships penetrated the Eternal Dominion's defenses. Maya's team transmitted commands that spoke directly to the stolen quantum processors, using knowledge gained from their studies of the Imperial Judgment. Kexeri watched in horror as his mighty flagship systems turned against him, recognized not him, but the original creators of its technology. Across his fleet, ships began powering down as their true owners reclaimed them through quantum networks. You don't just lose this war. Chen's transmission reached every Nexeri vessel. You lose the lie you've built your empire on. But we offer you a choice. Surrender and help us restore what your leaders have destroyed, or follow them into oblivion. As the Eternal Dominion's lights flickered and died, its crew realizing the full weight of their civilization's crimes, the Battle of Proxima Centauri became more than a military victory. It became the moment an empire built on theft and genocide finally faced justice. Victory through unity. 3 months after the Battle of Proxima Centauri, the Great Hall of the United Earth Congress was filled with an unprecedented gathering. Representatives from Earth stood alongside former Nexeri commanders, their differences stark, but their purpose united. The quantum as holographic form shimmered above the central platform, presenting data streams that told a story of rebuilding and redemption. Admiral Chen, now serving as Earth's chief diplomat to the reformed Nexari worlds, stood at the podium. Before her sat not just human leaders, but representatives from dozens of Nexari worlds that had chosen a new path. Most striking were the delegation of surviving members from some of the civilizations the old empire had nearly destroyed, preserved in hidden enclaves by rebellious Nexeri who had long opposed their leadership's genocide. The war is over, Chen began, her voice carrying the weight of hard-won wisdom. But our real challenge lies ahead. We've discovered archives detailing thousands of years of technological theft and systematic destruction. The old Nexeri Empire didn't just steal innovations. They erased entire cultures, leaving wounds in the fabric of galactic civilization that may never fully heal. Dr. Maya Patel took the stage next, her presentation showing the complex web of stolen technologies they'd uncovered. We've identified the original creators of nearly every major Nexeri technology. More importantly, we found ways to restore and improve upon these innovations, working with their true inventors rather than stealing from them. The quantum AI's displays shifted, showing the progress of what had become known as the Restoration Project. Planets once stripped bare were being revitalized using a combination of human quantum engineering and recovered alien technologies. Species that had been reduced to a handful of survivors were being helped to rebuild, their knowledge and culture preserved and honored. Zara, now serving as a bridge between human and Nexeri societies, addressed the assembly next. Her scales shimmered with a new color pattern that represented hope, a change that had spread among her people as they embraced truth over conquest. My people lived in fear of showing weakness, she declared. We were taught that power came from taking, from destroying those who might one day challenge us. Humanity showed us a different kind of strength, the power that comes from understanding, from building rather than stealing, from lifting others up rather than tearing them down. The assembly watched as new images filled the hall, quantum shipyards where humans worked alongside Nexeri engineers, combining their knowledge to create vessels that honored the innovations of countless civilizations. Research centers where survivors of nearly extinct species worked to recover their lost heritage, supported by human and Nexeri resources. Admiral Rodriguez, his uniform now bearing the insignia of both Earth and the new Nexeri alliance, presented the military aspects of their shared future. We're not dismantling the Nexeri fleet, we're transforming it. Every ship is being retrofitted with properly understood quantum technology, operated by crews who know not just how to use it, but why it works. The quantum AI interrupted briefly, its calculations highlighting an unexpected discovery. Analysis complete. Combined human-Nexari quantum engineering has exceeded previous theoretical limits. New technologies emerging from cooperation surpass anything either civilization possessed independently. This revelation sparked murmurs of excitement through the hall. Success through cooperation was proving more powerful than conquest had ever been. Dr. Paddle returned to the podium, her eyes bright with the possibilities ahead. We've learned that true advancement doesn't come from stealing ideas, but from bringing minds together. The quantum mechanics we developed independently, combined with the unique insights of other species, is opening doors we never imagined. The assembly reached its emotional peak when representatives from the nearly extinct Lyran civilization approached the stage. Their crystalline forms caught the light as they presented humanity with their highest honor, knowledge freely given, not taken. "You could have used our weakness to dominate," their elder stated, her crystalline voice resonating through the hall. "Instead, you showed us that true strength lies in unity, in preserving diversity rather than erasing it. You've proven yourselves worthy successors to the galaxy's legacy of innovation." Chen's final address brought the assembly to its feet. "The stars are filled with wonders we're only beginning to understand. The old empire's way of theft and destruction didn't just harm others. It limited their own growth, trapped them in patterns of thinking that made true innovation impossible. Today, we choose a different path." As the assembly concluded, the quantum AI presented one final calculation: probability of successful galactic civilization renaissance under current cooperation protocols, 89.7%, and rising. Outside the Congress Hall, Earth's night sky told the story of their success. Ships of human and alien design moved in harmony, their quantum drives leaving traces of light that danced among the stars. The Nexari Empire's fall had not led to chaos, but to a new order built on understanding and mutual growth. The message to the galaxy was clear. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their weapons or their technology, but in their ability to turn enemies into allies, to choose understanding over dominance, to build rather than destroy. They had not just won a war. They had transformed it into an opportunity for all species to rise together. In the end, the Nexari's greatest mistake wasn't in declaring war on humanity. It was in failing to recognize that true power comes not from what you can take from others, but from what you can build together.